What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 8 and race 9 of my season challenge in F1 2012. No more rival challenges to worry about, but 2 races left really to show what I can do in the Ferrari. This is you can see the championship situation with these 2 races left. I can't win the championship, but I can do my best and see how good a result I can get from these final 2 races. And the first race is Hockenheim, the German Grand Prix, and it is raining pretty hard in qualifying. Conditions here were really tough to get a decent lap on. Visibility, as you can tell, is pretty poor to say the least, and it was very slippery this lap. But in the end, I actually do okay, as you'll see. Run a bit wide there through turn 2, and the fastest lap is Alonso, but I'm only just behind him. It said 2/10, but looks a bit closer than 2/10, doesn't it? Looks to be a few hundredths of a second coming through down to the hairpin. Braking about 130 meters before the corner, but locking my brakes and running a bit wide. Although it hasn't lost me that much time in the end. And in fact, I'm quicker than Alonso at this point. That's a tough corner in the wet. It's normally flat out, but in the wet, yeah, it's just a bit tricky to figure out where the limit is. Which is true in general in the wet, especially on a track like this. Some of the corners are difficult to spot your braking. Like that corner we've just gone through, the right-hander. It's very difficult to spot your braking through there at the best of times, because there's not really any markers or points on the track where you think, okay, I'm going to brake from that point, or I'm going to turn in from that point. And that's in the dry, and in the wet it's just even harder. But it's been a pretty good lap, all things considered. I qualify P6, which is alright. 4/10 off pole from my teammate. So not a bad performance. And yeah, just looking forward to the race now, and hopefully I can make up a few positions. A win would be nice again after my win in Japan, but I think considering the conditions it's going to be difficult overtaking. My start will be the best chance I have to take some positions, I think. My objective for the race is to finish better than second. Well, second or better. And that's going to be difficult, I think. I think a podium is realistic. But after the start, it shall be difficult to really gain any more positions with the conditions as they are. It's going to be difficult enough keeping the car pointed in the right direction, I think. But anyway, out onto the starting grid now. You can see my teammate Alonso on pole from the 2 McLarens. Then it's the 2 Red Bulls, and then I'm in P6, and that looks like Schumacher behind me. Yes, indeed it is. So anyway, here's the start now. Waiting for the 5 red lights, and it's away. And that's a decent getaway. I'm alongside Vettel and past him, and alongside Webber. And now braking into turn 1, and Button's gone wide, and I've moved up into 3rd place. So that's a good start. And if I can get in Hamilton's toe here before the hairpin, I might have a shot at P2. Can I get a decent exit from this corner? Yeah, it's tricky, especially with that little left-hand kink, because you've got to be on the throttle, but at the same time it's quite heavy steering, which means that you can easily spin it out there. So I've not been able to close up on Hamilton, but I've got a bit of a cutback on him, but not good enough traction there to really get that done. And now I've got the spray from Hamilton to contend with, as well as the conditions. Although I take that left-hander quite well. And I'm not too far away. I always, ooh, and nearly spinning there. I always lose time through that right-hander anyway, because it's, as you saw there, if you're just on the power a little bit too much, you lose the back end, and it's a very difficult balance to get right. This is one of the things I think that this game has got right, actually, driving in the wet, because it is meant to be a challenge, and it is a big challenge, but at the same time you know that if you do drive well, then you're going to be able to stay with the guys around you. So it has its rewards if you drive sensibly. And I broke way too early for that time for turn 2, but it meant that I connected with the apex well enough, but Button is close behind me. There's not going to be any DRS in this race because of the conditions, which is good and bad. At the moment it looks like a good thing because there's a threat from behind in the form of Jenson Button. I don't know who's behind him. I'm guessing Webber, because he had an okay start. And I've pulled away a little bit out of that hairpin, which I often tend to do. And outside wheel on the curb there, which is a dangerous place to be. And through that difficult right-hander again, and yeah, it's just so difficult to apply the right amount of power through there, because as you can see now, Hamilton's 2 seconds ahead. He wasn't before that corner. And in the final sector of lap 2, and doing not too badly through there. And now onto the pit straight. Let's see what the gaps are as we come across the start-finish line. 1.7 to Hamilton, so I've come back at him a little bit by a couple of tenths, and nearly a second ahead of Jenson Button, so that was a better sector. Hamilton's pretty much all over the back of Alonso, but obviously without the DRS it's difficult to overtake. And I lose about a tenth of a second through the first sector, which is okay. I can deal with that. Coming down to the hairpin. And yeah, my teammate just can't shake Hamilton. So if Alonso is holding him up, if I can just do a couple of clean, good laps, then I might be able to get onto the back of Hamilton. But I nearly lose it coming out of that corner. And that's lost me a heap of time again, and Button's right on me once more. It's 2.5 seconds to Hamilton now. I just want to make sure I don't spin out. That's what I really want to avoid. If I hold on to P3, that's fine. I just don't want to spin out. I nearly did again there. Oh, this is so tricky. You can't really appreciate how difficult this is until you try it without traction control on and minimal assists. It's really, you have no idea where the limit is and how much grip you're going to have. And the visibility's bad as well, which means that it's harder to spot your braking points and your turn-in points. It's a real challenge this, as I go wide out of the left kink. But as I say, it's one of the things that it's a satisfying challenge when you get it right around any circuit in the wet. When you know that you've done a good job, it gives you a good feeling, and it's reflected in how the race goes as well, because you can set a decent pace then and feel like a bit of a rain maestro. Although I don't really feel like one right now. I'm doing okay. I'm holding my own at least, because when I'm not making mistakes, I'm pulling away from Jenson. Gaps out to nearly a second again, but I'm 3 seconds behind Hamilton now, so it's not looking likely that I'm going to improve on third place and get that second that the team want me to get. I'm coming up towards the start of the final lap now. Onto the pit straight. Let's see the lap time. 129.3, that's not bad think Hamilton's fastest lap I saw was a 1:29.0, and he's done a 1:29.0 again, so not bad pace, just off his pace. I mean, he's stopped behind Alonso, so if he could just get past, oh dear me, again, massive oversteer through that little left-hand kink, and that's allowed Button to catch me up again, but without DRS it's just not really possible to overtake, it seems. Just need to make sure I get my braking right down into the hairpin, and I've done okay, so I'll hold on to P3, and if I can just be sensible from here, then it should be in the bag. And I've had a good exit from the hairpin, which has allowed me to really pull away quite significantly from Jenson Button. See if I can get this right-hander right a bit wide. Yeah, it's difficult, that corner, in these conditions. But I'm a second ahead of Jenson Button, and with just the final sector to go, which is quite tight. No way through really, unless I make a mistake. One corner to go now, and that's okay, cutting the corner a little bit. And Alonso's won the race, and I'm going to finish in third, which is decent enough. I mean, starting from sixth, it was always going to be difficult to finish in the top two, and those positions were pretty much set from the first corner. I wasn't going to be able to do any overtaking after that. And where is Vettel? He must have had a dreadful start, because I overtook him off the line and he's still at 20th. He's finished 20th. Wow. That has not gone well for SV. While his teammate finished up in 5th, he's down in 20th. So yeah, not a great result for him, and that's the championship situation. I am still in 6th, and that looks pretty much nailed on now, because Schumi is, what, about 20 points, 19 points behind me, and I'm 24 points behind Webber. So unless I win the final race and Webber doesn't score, I'm not going to be picking up any more places. And in the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari 100 points behind McLaren, and about 40 behind Red Bull as well. So just the one race to go now. The final race is the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and that's a good track for me, so hopefully that'll be a good race. And as you can see there, I look a bit not disappointed with third, but it's an okay result. But obviously I've missed the target that the team set, but in those conditions I'm pretty pleased with that. So anyway, one more race to go, and that will be episode 9, which I hope to see you for.